There you go, you're live.
All right. Hey guys, how you doing? It's the Do Carpenter and the beautiful Mrs. Do Carpenter. And we are live inside the Aircrete. I'm calling it a shop now. It's no longer a shed. It ended up being huge. But anyways, we're here live and we called this the updated mix design for the wall panels because that has been listed on our store, and we're in the process of going down through everybody who has bought it and emailing it out. I got a couple done this morning. I got several done this morning, so we will just kind of go from there. We got a message, good morning, from Del Rio.
Yeah, so our shop is the Honeydew Carpenter shop on Etsy. And if you're wanting to get the new updated wall panel mix, you can go there now. It is actually there.
It is. And for those who had bought the wall panel mix, and just in my testing and in my honest opinion, didn't think it was absolutely 1000% the best after it got fully cured out, I went back to the drawing board. Some people noticed we were kind of offline a little bit for a while, and did some more research and some more experiments, and I came up with the design that is just awesome. If you look if you look up at the gable ends, those are all the new design, and they just turned out absolutely fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. Now, that being said, Aircrete's very forgiving, guys. If you don't get it just perfect, especially in this configuration where we're doing wall panels and there's stud between them, I'm still going to use those. I just didn't think they were the best, and I'm kind of, you know what, I heard a saying this past week, you know, you have to finish, and I'm a finisher. I always want to finish something that I start, and I heard a saying, someone saying, it's better to finish something that you started that's good. You know, you can learn from it and improve it later. And maybe we should have did that. I don't know. I think maybe we lost a little bit of momentum taking a break for me to kind of redo things a little bit, but it's neither here nor there. We're going to finish this thing. It's looking absolutely great. I think we got the window in, don't we, babe? Oh yeah. The window. There's a door going outside. But, oh, here's the other gable end.
Careful.
Oops. Yeah, they just turned out absolutely awesome.
Slow. Oh,
Mrs. Honeydew's looking at me saying, slow, slow.
Don't want to make them seasick.
Yeah, you don't want to make people seasick.
There you go.
Like she knows what she's talking about as a videographer. No, she does.
But like my husband was saying, he does like to always work on bettering everything that he does. And that's the same with any business. You're going to want to always look for better improvements to make your business better. And that's exactly what he has done.
Right. It's just like the new foam mate end nozzle. All my foam mates that go out now have the updated nozzle on it because it's just so user friendly. I mean, the consistency of the foam is just, and the ease of use of getting it to that with just two valves, it's crazy. So let's answer some questions.
So we got some howdy guys.
Dwayne Snipes, Mariana Martinez. From Argentina.
Wow. Awesome. And Little Big Dream says, hey guys.
Awesome.
So we just have a lot of people saying hey this morning. So hello back to you guys. And we hope that you guys are having a wonderful day.
Now, the roof system on this, you notice we put the beams across.
Let's go up a little bit. There you go.
Oh, yeah. A little more maybe. Okay, there we go. So we put the beams across, and I put OSB down, and then I basically, just like a normal roof, 2 foot on center, I put studs and then another layer. Now I left the ridge open on top because we're going to fill in that whole cavity on the roof with aircrete. So I initially wanted to make this completely with non-combustible stuff, but just going through the process and asking people's opinions and whatnot of the gable and the roof system and whatnot, we decided to go with the beams. And really, guys, with that whole roof filled with aircrete, it's I mean, I don't know if you know how fires work, but they grow inside of walls. You know, you have an electrical spark inside of a wall, and you can have a fire grow inside of a wall and whatnot. It's going to be still way less, way more fireproof with that aircrete in the cavity there.
Okay, we do have a question. How long has this process taken thus far?
Thus far, well, pouring the slab, doing the walls, experimenting with different mix designs I started with last winter. I'm going to say 7-8 months. And a lot of it was R&D and research and development. The actual process of putting this building up, now that I've done one, and I mean, Mrs. Honeydew and I have poured, 25 panels in a day, right? So, but our methods of pouring and whatnot are just getting better and better. And so I really think, and then I have another invention, which is a mixing apparatus that mixes a continual flow of aircrete. And I'm in the process of working all the kinks out of that and building it right now. More research and development, guys. When that's done, I really think I could build a building like this in a couple of weeks, easy. We put the slab in one day.
If we actually knew exactly the process start to finish, it would definitely go a lot faster.
Right.
But where we're, going, hey, let's try this and see if it works better. Let's try this and see if it works better. And we're learning a lot.
And I literally, after we poured the slab and started doing wall panels, I don't know, you've probably seen some videos of my kids with hammers beating on bad wall panels, it took a lot of experimenting. I would say probably of all the wall panels we poured, we only kept in the beginning maybe half of them. And so, but as we went through the process and as our mix got better and whatnot, I don't know if you guys remember, but there were people begging me to put out my original wall panel mix, the one with the chicken feet in it. And I just drug my feet. I just didn't feel good about putting something out there that hadn't had time to cure out and me to see how it was going to develop. So I really appreciate that question. I really do.
Oh, and someone else says good question. So yeah, it was a very good question.
Oh yeah, awesome.
Oh my goodness, yes. I imagine the very first one would be all the trial and error. 25 panels in a day is awesome.
Yeah, and so I know right now, even doing it the way we're doing it without the continual flow mixing apparatus, we could probably in a couple of days build all the forms. In a couple of days we could pour all the panels, and the easiest part was tipping them up, wasn't it?
It really was.
The easiest part was just putting them up and tacking them together and getting them in the form of a shed. But now with all four walls and the corners and the roof on, it is really rigid. It is just
it is really amazing.
A rock solid rigid building. I'm also in all of the corners gonna put X's around every corner from corner to corner for the 3 panels in before we put the final coating on of hurricane strapping. So this building is going to be super rigid.
Another thing that we had to account for also while we were building this shed is that everything had to be brought into the backyard either by wheelbarrow, cart, or us carrying it.
Yeah, logistically.
We had a normal gate fence that we had to get everything through. We couldn't bring, and then we had a small area to work in to pour everything. So if you have a big area that you can get everything to, it will definitely work a lot faster too.
Absolutely. In the beginning, we actually moved from the site. We took all the bags of cement. That was a whole day just doing that, because we originally brought it all here, but we only had this 12 by 15 slab to pour on. We could only pour like 6 panels at a time. It was, we were like, we're never going to get done doing that. And so we took all the stuff back to and we poured it out on our porch, which is, 30 by 20 or whatever. And we were able to pour multiple panels at a time. And so, logistically speaking, we couldn't get a concrete truck back here. It was going to cost, just for the daily rental, like $1,100 to get a concrete pumper to pump it from the street back up over here. We ended up pouring this whole 12 by 15 foot slab. I get a military discount at Lowe's. I think we ended up, and we bought in bulk. We bought a couple pallets of cement. Mrs. Honeydew packed like 100 bags back here by herself while I was mixing them. But the whole slab cost like $300, and we were trying to keep the cost down. And we put up this whole aircrete structure, right? Just the structure, not including the roof, for under $1,000. Now, that being said, we went and bought all the, the waterproofing and the roofing and the beam material, and that was like about $300 and something. And we haven't gone and got the shingles yet, but those are only about $40 a square, so it's gonna be like another $160. So we're in the roof, but if you think about it, guys, we went down and priced tough sheds that were like 12 foot by 16 feet, I think they were. And this is 12 by 15, but that's neither here nor there. That's what Grandpa wanted, so. But they were over $6,000, and they weren't insulated. They weren't, if you wanted to make a shop out of it, they didn't, you'd still have to pour the slab. He got a quote from a contractor to set one of those up back here, and it was way up over $8,000 to set up a shop like this. And so we're super excited.
So Kathy says, hey everyone, Little Farm Big Dream says, hey, that's great, and I'll get faster and faster. It'll get faster and faster. Yeah. Yes, it actually does. Is the foundation aircrete as well?
No, we poured it on a slab, just a high-strength concrete slab. And we did a video about that. You get to watch Mrs. Honeydew and I through one day. We poured the whole slab in one day, and that was packing concrete bags and mixing them in a 3 cubic foot mixer. And so and dumping it with wheelbarrows, so it took a while.
So Brian is wondering what the whole purpose of making a shed out of this aircrete is.
That's a good question, and I'm glad you asked it, Brian, because right now it's sunny and getting really hot outside, but last night it was in like the 50s. This aircrete right now is super cool. It's, in fact, even with an open door, and we haven't got it all sealed up yet, it's still at least 15 degrees cooler inside this shed as it is outside. So what we're talking about is the elemental properties of aircrete. It not only is an insulation and has matte insulation properties, it's also a heat sink, meaning it acts like a battery and it absorbs whatever is in it. It's kind of similar to masonry bricks that way. So at night, the stuff gets cool, and it stays cool and keeps the building cool for a long time before it starts to get warm. So if you were to build a livable structure like this, which I could live in this is awesome, but your energy bills would be almost nil. During the night, when you're in the wintertime, when you have your stove going and you're warming the walls and they're all warm, they soak up the warmth and hold it. And then in the morning, I mean, you could shut the stove down and it would continue to be warm in here for hours and hours and hours and hours. So it's just kind of like a big heat sink.
All right. Elbear says hello from Castaway, New Jersey, USA.
Awesome.
I admire your work. Suggest to use a flat metal straps attached in diagonal from the wind shear protection.
Yeah, he's right. Yeah, and that's
exactly
what I have. The flat metal straps.
Oh, well, cool.
And so I'm gonna. They're gonna be in an X form. I may even put them across the top, like a foot down, straight, and then they'll just get sheet metal screwed self-tappers into every stud that they cross.
Pablo from Costa Rica. Well, that's pretty cool. Elber says, can you tell us the mixture ratio and the type of soap you use? Thanks.
Yeah, I don't sell that because I just want people to be able to have access to that no matter what. So, okay, I use J-Lube to make the bubbles a little bit stronger in my mix. But if you don't have access to J-Lube, you'll want to change the ratio of your Schwab clarifying shampoo to water. So I use 2 ounces of Schwab shampoo. 1 ounce. It's a 32-to-1 ratio. So 32 ounces of water to 1 ounce of shampoo. So in a gallon, you have 128 ounces, so you'd use 4 ounces. If you're doing a 5-gallon bucket of solution, you'd put 20 ounces in that 5-gallon bucket. Now, if you don't have J-Lube or something to make the bubbles stronger, I suggest that you add an additional ounce per gallon. So instead of using 20 ounces in a 5-gallon solution, use 25. So that's only an extra 1/4 ounce. So for 32 ounces, instead of 32-to-1, it'd be 32-to-1.25.
And then we just use Schwab oil control shampoo, right?
Yeah, it's clarifying shampoo.
Oh, clarifying shampoo.
I just use that one. Any would work, I think, but I just use that one because it has the least amount of colors and fragrances and dyes and stuff in it.
All right, that's all of our questions. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
No. If someone had another question, I'd be out.
Awesome.
I always have an answer to a question. But, all right, guys. Oh.
From Vancouver, Canada, patiently waiting for the foamate I bought to arrive. I'm inspired to take it to the Philippines and try and build a little geodome. That's exciting.
We mailed that one on a 3-day priority mail. I don't know how the international works. I know in the U.S. it would get there guaranteed in 3 days, but we mailed it to... No.
Was it yesterday or the day before?
It was 2 days ago. So
we're excited. Hopefully you get it soon.
You should get it soon. Okay, when would you like to have the shed done? Oh, well, we still have a cobblestone patio that we have to pour. We're pouring all individual stones with high-strength concrete and putting it in. We've got to put the hurricane straps on, and then I'm going to either trial on or maybe spray on a base coat. Gosh. And then in between that, guys, I basically have a full-time job editing and filming and building foam makes and sending them out.
So
I don't know. It'll probably take us a month, but we want to.
We do have some research and development. Like he said, he's not sure if he wants to spray it on or trial it on. And
I actually want to spray it on. I'm working on. I want to have a mix that you can spray on with a texture gun, and I think I've about got it, but I don't want to say that right now, just simply because everything hasn't cured out over a long enough time to make sure it doesn't crack or spall or anything.
So we hope to have it done in a month, and we'll keep our fingers crossed, right?
Right. But when do we want to have it done? We want to have it done definitely before the snow flies, you know. I mean, complete. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to have double doors with X's on the front, and I don't know. I may even put some brick cladding up the front, part way up to match Grandma's house. She wanted to match the roof, so we're matching the shingles.
So it will look completely different when it's done instead of just a cement look.
Yeah, it will.
So
I think just because I like the rugged cement look and I want people to know, I'm thinking even inside and out, just well, outside I'll have to paint it or do something to waterproof, but I'm thinking about leaving the gable ends.
Yeah.
And just putting the it's similar to a plaster coating on the inside, but leaving the gable end.
Oh, awesome.
Because it does look cool.
All right, so, we got a donation. Thank you, Alan. That's amazing. And
Awesome.
yes, our new mix panel design is on Etsy.
Yes, it is. And everybody who bought it is getting an email from, because I consider it an addendum. If you already paid for a mix design, I'm not going to make you buy it again because I changed an ingredient or a mixing procedure or updated it. So we're going to send that out to everybody. So just know that.
That if you haven't got it yet, it's on its way, hopefully soon.
Yeah, I did several this morning.
And that is the Do Carpenter shop on Etsy, and it has our new panel design on there. It just says the panel mix design. It doesn't say new or anything, but it's the new one.
Does it say updated?
No.
Oh, it doesn't? Okay.
Hello from mile 0 in the Peace Country near Dawson Creek,
British Columbia, Canada.
When you're pouring an in-place form, would you use a vibrator to fill the void? How would that affect the bubble structure?
What I found, guys, is if you look at some of my older panels, you can see the oh,
Can you bring it a little closer?
Right. Where's it? Let me see. I don't know. Can they see that?
I don't know.
I don't know either. But you could see little bubbles all around my rabbit wire in there. Now, what I didn't use a vibrator, so I don't know how it would affect the bubbles. I don't think it would really hurt them that bad. It might kill a few. But what I did on the gable ends and the final wall panels that I made that are with the new mix is before I didn't just pour it and leave it like I did with all the other ones. I poured it and then I probed it every 3 times every 6 inches up and down, and I made sure and tap it all the way through with a stick, and I just probed it before I screeded it, and then I let it set up, and it worked out great. So I mean, if you look at the gable end up there, you can't even see the reinforcement that's in it at all.
So if you were pouring it in place, would you be wanting to try and vibrate any of the roof at all?
I don't know if I'd use a vibrator. I think I'm just gonna take a broom handle, because I left the ridge open and we're gonna pour and fill the cavity of the roof with aircrete, and I do want to make sure there's no bubbles in there, but I'm planning on just taking a broom handle or a probe and just probing up and down it and making sure that it's all out. And that's how I'm going to do it. I would recommend probing. Now, That being said, when I was in the concrete testing industry and we were taking samples, when we took a sample and put it in a cylinder, part of the process of preparing that would be we had to probe every one 25 times with a steel rod. And that was part of the process, and that works very well to get all air bubbles out. So it is a good procedure, and you don't have to worry about knocking your foam, air out of your foam. If you guys are mixing up batches of it with a rotary mixer, you want to have that sucker on low speed, okay? Because I've put it on high speed before and just watched my mix go brrr, because you can kill those bubbles with too much. So I would shy away from a vibrator and go more toward probing.
No pressure. I was just wondering if you had a goal date in mind.
Yeah, I'd like to have it done. It's the first week. Well, we're 8 days into September.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to have it done the first week of October. And I think that's a good goal date, and I think we could.
Really appreciate all of your advice you guys give. Looks great. Well, thank you.
Awesome.
My ideas I want to share with you is to try and use a 2-inch thick dense styrofoam, say 2x2 square with mesh on top, and pour your mix 1 inch thick as pavers. Do you think 1 inch thick would work?
With something as soft as styrofoam under it? It would have to be a really dense styrofoam, and it would have to be a pretty dense aircrete.
So maybe not.
And I would probably put sand in it a little bit. It would be a lot lighter than normal aircrete, but not as light as this stuff we're doing here. All right, I see a small gap between the panels. Would it be a good idea to caulk in between the panels? What I'm doing instead of caulking is I'm putting an expanded foam in between the panels. In fact, here, let's see if, I don't know, can you guys see that little bead? Oh, oops, sorry guys, of expanded foam. I haven't got them all done yet, and that's why you're seeing some air gaps. If you guys have been following us along, you would know that my walls grew, and we had to pour some custom panels for the ends. I thought they would just stay completely square, but just from the pressure of the aircrete pushing out on the forms, they bellied out about 1/16 of an inch on each side, and that's why you're seeing a lot of those gaps. And then another thing is, in transportation, when they were on a pallet, all the steel studs, those guys, they're not very careful with them. So if they're damaged at all and just had even just a little twist and weren't perfectly square, that would cause issues and whatnot of like this bigger gap that you see. But those are all gonna get filled with an expanded foam.
Did you consider using larger panels?
I did, and I'm going to. Obviously on the roof they're only 2 foot on center, so they're 2 feet wide when they get poured in there and cured out. But the reason I did it this way, guys, was just to demonstrate to people that maybe this is a viable building option for a smart home, meaning a home that wants to be really super energy efficient. And right now building codes say you have to have studs 16 inches on center, on bearing walls, and so that's what I did. You know, do I have enough confidence in that new mix to go with much wider panels just because they're compression string? Yeah, I absolutely do. So, but that's my reasoning behind doing this, was just a code thing.
Can you paint one side of the newly poured AC panel and leave the other unsealed? Will it cure?
Can you paint one side of the newly poured AC panel?
Aircrete panel and leave the other unsealed, and will it cure?
Oh, if it's stiff enough to paint it, yeah, you could paint it, and it would still continue to cure. We actually, after we pour our wall panels, they have visqueen wrapped and taped around on the side of the form. We would just leave them and let them set up and get a little bit stiff for 12 to 24 hours. And then we would lay another layer of visqueen over and let them cure out that way. I actually tried completely wrapping one and sealing it in visqueen, and it cured out fine as well.
Are you going to make an aircrete door for the workshop?
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
It's a double door, big enough to get a motorcycle and a big lawnmower through it and everything like that. So, I don't know. We didn't think about that. So,
yeah.
Now you have him thinking.
It would be kind of cool to have an aircrete door.
It would be.
I'm going to have to insulate it some way or another.
If you were pouring your upright panels 6 inches thick and 10 feet tall and had all of your electrical and plumbing in place, and the foamcrete would have to get around the conduit and the piping?
Oh, that's a good question. And my answer to you is I would recommend you go watch my video where I was just going through a thought process of doing interlocking panels. And if you watch through the whole video, I explained a form system that would have holes strategically placed intermediately throughout the panel so that you could lay down a whole wall worth of forms, put some release agent on a PVC pipe or whatever and run it through there, and then pour it. And because there's release agent on it, you could just spin it and pull that pipe out later. And then when you put all your walls up, you would basically have a conduit through it. And you would know where they are every so many inches throughout the wall. And so you could put a tensioning cable completely through the wall on the top and the bottom after you set it in your bottom plate, and just kind of tension and screw and sandwich that wall together really tight. And then also you would have the intermediate holes running through where you could just push a piece of wire right through to any point on the wall that you wanted. So it's that's something I thought about, but I went into it in great detail. I wish I knew what I called that
What
video.
about if they already have all the pipes and the
Interlocking.
wires already up in a wall and they just want to pour aircrete? Put a frame on each side and pour aircrete in it.
I would say run your wires through conduit. And this is why. If you ever wanted to snake them out and pull them out, you could. And then they have snakes where you could replace the wire if you wanted to. You wouldn't have to, though. You could just pour the aircrete right around it. And here's the deal with aircrete. I could just take a hammer and scratch, and I could just chip away at it and get to any area that I wanted, really.
Mm-hmm.
So, but man, if you your wires would be in there.
They would be. Greg says, great job. Alberto says, so it would be a good idea to put a bead of the foam. Yes. I am following you since quite recently, and I'm amazed at the job that you have done. Thanks. I wonder the density of the poured concrete and the
multiplicator factor on the foam. So in our mix design, I'm very specific about how many times to expand your slurry. And as far as the density of my wall panels, they're all especially the first ones we poured, all of them are a lot different. Some are much lighter than others.
Mm-hmm.
What I ended up going with, because I think there's 3.2 cubic feet in one of our wall panels, and I went with 6 gallons of water. Well, this guy's suckering me into giving out all my.
I was just about to stop
No,
you.
but after you take all the ingredients and put them in, and after 28 days, all the water should be out of it. Just the ingredients themselves weighed about 75 pounds, and that was for 3.2 cubic feet. Now, so, you know, depending on the size of your panel, they're going to be somewhere between 70 and 80 pounds. And my goodness, that many cubic feet, 3.2 cubic feet of regular concrete would weigh 480 pounds, almost 500 pounds, versus, you know, 80, 90 pounds. So it's about 1/5 the weight.
But if you are really interested in getting our mix recipe, it is on Do Carpenter Shop on Etsy.
And another reason I wouldn't want to just spit it off right here is because I go through specific mixing. Somebody might listen to me and try and copy it based on me just giving the amount and of the ingredient and the weight of it, and that's not all there is to it. You have to mix them in a specific manner. It's just like a baking recipe.
Yes. All right. Prior to assembly. Oh.
6-inch thick, I meant.
6 inches thick, I meant. Okay, so make it a sliding door. Albert says you can make it a sliding door.
Yeah, I could. I could put a rail and put some hanging doors that slid open.
But it would block the window when you were in here.
When the door is open?
Aircrete barn door, just a thought. That is actually kind of an exciting
It wouldn't.
thought.
Look, it's only that wide. It would just cover that.
You're right. I was thinking the whole thing going that way. Okay. That is a great idea, though. We should try that. Oh, James. Oh, James, you're so amazing. Thank you. What a wonderful donation. Thank you. $2. Hello, your air conditioner changed the temperature. Yes, it works very well.
Yeah. Yeah, it did. It works great. I was really, you know what? I think my timing was off. I should have done the air conditioner like way earlier in the spring and had it out and going and all the information on it. And I'm almost thinking about waiting to release everything on it. All the plans and everything until next year but last week somebody said it's hot somewhere in the world, so
that's very true. It is. So we'll see. BBQ Crasher says, love that you went live. So much good info and Q&A. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you.
Awesome.
James says, would the air conditioner change the temperature of the room and how much?
Of this room? Yeah, in fact, I'm going to install one here. The reason being is I don't want to run a bunch of electrical over here, and so I'm thinking about just putting a solar panel with the AC unit, and then also LED lights would light this place up like nobody's business. And so I'm thinking about just running this whole shed, heating it and cooling it with solar and like a little rocket stove or something. If Grandma will let me with the rocket stove.
Hello to my movie star friend from Central Upstate New York. Well, hello, David.
Awesome.
Love you guys. Great job. Keep it up. See, you're doing awesome. Hello from Oregon.
But that one guy hates me. Can't please everybody.
Right, and Bluegrass Bound says, hey, everyone. Well, hey. All right. So I think
it's time.
Good, right?
Yeah, that's
all
good.
Right. So you guys have a wonderful day, and we will talk to you guys later.
All right.